Kindle or a...
Good evening and Happy New Year. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, January 4th, 2011. Get it right. 6:30 p.m. We're at the Palm Coast Community Center for the regularly scheduled meeting of the Palm Coast City Council. Would you please rise and join me in a Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Mayor Netz?
Here.
Vice Mayor Meeker?
Here.
Councilmember DeStefano? Here. Councilmember Lewis?
Here.
Councilmember Mormon?
Here.
Mayor, all members are present.
Thank you very much. Before we begin, I would like to just extend my wishes, and I know I speak for all members of the council and staff, wishing everybody a healthy, happy, and prosperous new year. May 2011 be the best year we've had. With that, first item on our agenda is the approval of the December 21st City Council business meeting and the December, yes, that's just it, one meeting, one set of meeting. Is there additions, corrections, or a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve the item.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries without objection. Agenda item number 2 is proclamation. Do we have someone who's going to receive this proclamation?
Fine. How do you reply to an email?
Emailed him?
Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. devoted his life to advancing equality, social justice, and opportunity for all, and challenged all Americans to participate in the never-ending work of building a more perfect union. And whereas Dr. King's teaching can continue to guide and inspire us in addressing challenges in our communities. And whereas the King Holiday and Service Act, enacted in 1994, designated the King Holiday as a national day of volunteer service and charged the Corporation for National and Community Services with leading this effort. And whereas serving on the King Holiday is an appropriate way to honor Dr. King, meet local and national needs, bring our citizens together, and strengthen our communities and nation. And whereas the King Day of Service is the only federal holiday commemorated as a natural day of service and offers an opportunity for all Americans to give back to their communities on the holiday and make an ongoing commitment to service throughout the year. And whereas the citizens of Palm Coast have an opportunity to participate in events throughout our state on King Day of Service, January 17th, 2011, as well as create and implement community service projects where they identify the need. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Palm Coast proclaims the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday as a day of service in Palm Coast and calls upon the people of Palm Coast to pay tribute to the life and works of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. through participation in community service projects on Martin Luther King Day and throughout the year. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes. Good evening. Thank you very much, Mayor Netz. I'm Suzanne Richards with the Corporation for National and Community Service, and I'm also joined by Susie Rutherford with Flagler Volunteer Services. And together, we want to thank Mayor Netz and also the City of Palm Coast for declaring January 17th as the Martin Luther King Day of Service. And this is a national campaign to engage all citizens, not just the citizens of Palm Coast, but all citizens in service on January 17th. So you may be surprised to know that this marks the 25th year of the federal King holiday. So at the Corporation for National and Community Service, we encourage folks to see it as a day on, not a day off. So Martin Luther King said everyone can be great because everyone can serve. The Corporation for National and Community Service is a federal agency dedicated to promoting service and volunteerism and strengthening communities. We believe that everyone can engage in service. So what we're seeking to do on January 17th throughout Florida, as well as the entire country, is to get folks to serve in very simple ways. Things as simple as mentoring a child who may be in danger of dropping out of school, being a companion to a frail elderly person to help them avoid institutionalization, and something as simple as helping a returning veteran prepare a job resume. So we're asking for individual acts of kindness that that can make a huge difference. And one reason I asked Susie Rutherford to join me is because Flagler Volunteer Services sponsors a retired and senior volunteer program that is seeking to develop a service project on January 17th. And at this point, there is a letter writing campaign that Susie Rutherford is asking organizations and individuals to join in the efforts first. So we encourage you to connect with Flagler Volunteer Services. And again, thank you to the City of Palm Coast and Mayor Netz for promoting service not just on January 17th, but throughout the year. So again, thank you very much, and we appreciate this proclamation.
Thank you very much. Susie, don't you want to? Come on, Susie, share some of the statistics with us.
I just want to say thank you as well for everything that you do, not just for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, but throughout the year. Your support of volunteers has always been amazing, and our agency has over 1,300 volunteers that are actively serving in the community, and we are there for anyone who needs help with getting started volunteering, or any agencies, nonprofit, government agencies that need help with volunteers. So give us a call. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and thank you both for everything that you do for our community.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 3, presentation of the Florida Planning and Zoning Association 2010 Sustainability Award. Mr. Landon.
Mayor, City Council, if this sounds like a rerun, it's because we're getting a number of these, including I think we've gotten one from the Planning Association in the past, and it's really kind of exciting. I really think it's because of the team effort. Denise is going to introduce this, but Denise is just one of the team members that helped make this happen. Our green team and actually all of city staff, with the support of City Council and the whole community, has been behind our green efforts, and we're seeing more and more recognition, and this is just another example. Denise, please take it from there.
Thank you, Mr. Landon. Good evening, Mayor Nett, City Council members. I'll be very brief. I'd like to welcome John Thompson to the podium. Mr. Thompson is the president of the Florida Planning and Zoning Association, the Surf Coast chapter, a very outstanding organization, and I'd like to just go ahead and turn over the presentation to Mr. Thompson. Thank you.
Good evening, and Happy New Year to you too, Mayor Netz, members of the City Council. As Denise has introduced me, my name is John Thompson. I am the president of the Surf Coast chapter of the Florida Planning and Zoning Association, or as we commonly refer to ourselves as FPZA. And tonight I have the distinct honor of presenting the Sustainability Award for the City of Palm Coast Green Development Incentive Program. But before I move on, and thank you for the accolade, Denise, let me tell you something about our organization. We're a statewide organization, a nonprofit. We're made up of people dedicated to planning and developing a quality Florida. And by people, I mean professional planners as myself, architects, engineers, attorneys, and elected officials, folks with an interest in planning, and we're multidisciplinary. The Surf Coast chapter, the FPZA has a number of chapters throughout the state, and the Surf Coast chapter is comprised of both Flagler and Volusia County. And our core mission, I want to read this to you, is to furnish a medium for interchange of information and mutual assistance among those interested in planning and zoning. And one way we go about our mission is recognizing achievement in our two-county area. And in this case, the awards committee, which made the selection for the awards for 2010, recognized the city for its foresight and initiative for undertaking its green development incentive program. And as your city manager has indicated, you guys have taken a leadership role in our awards program, and really in that recognizes your leadership role in planning initiatives in our two-county area. And as I was mentioning, Mr. Netz, this is your third award in 2 years. Last year you were awarded the Outstanding Private-Public Partnership Award for Old Kings Road. That was with Flagler County and Palm Coast Holdings, along with the Outstanding Master Plan Award with Flagler County for the Flagler Airport Master Plan. Another example of y'all partnering with other entities to do good things. And I think it's very important as we move into this year, particularly after the experience we've had in the last couple of years, with what I guess I've heard called the Great Recession to recognize achievement in a period where we didn't have, we've got reduced staff, resources. So, I mean, it's even more notable that you all are still on the forefront in the area of planning. And I just want to read a few highlights because I think this is important to recognize and why the awards committee selected the City of Palm Coast for this award. First, the City of Palm Coast awards a distinction. I hope this is all still current. Distinction of being the sole holder of the gold level green local government certification by the Florida Green Building Coalition, or FGBC, for this area, northeast area of the state. And the city also led all Florida cities in receiving the largest number of awarded points for the certification. And these points focus on improving environmental performance through a number of evaluation criteria to address sustainable practices, both within the operation of the city, but also establishing green practices throughout the community. And that's really the focus of why you've got this award. Is what you, not just what you did within your community, but how you promoted green practices throughout the larger community. Since its earlier achievement of a silver green local government designation back in 2009, you rapidly expanded your sustainable efforts. Most notably, these included the city's Green Building Incentive Program, of course, the Go Green Award to recognize achievement in the community, youth education programs, and various other sustainable initiatives to promote sustainability throughout your community. And one of these endeavors included co-sponsoring a luncheon program this past August, co-sponsoring with your home builders, the Flagler Home Builders, and our association to educate the community on sustainable practices. So that's how we got to know a little bit about your program. And because of that, I'm very honored to be here tonight to present this award to you. But before I move on, let me recognize another entity within your community that also got an award, and that was the Sustainability Award of Merit, which is kind of the runner-up to you all for the Sustainability Award, but somebody who needed to be recognized for their achievement. And that was the Hilton Garden Inn of Palm Coast Town Center for its green lodging designation. And basically, it was granted this award because of the Hilton Garden Inn embracing the FDEP, Florida Department of Environmental Protection's Green Lodging Program criteria to utilize cost-saving green practices that reduce waste and conserve natural resources. They actually plugged this into the design of their hotel and their business model. And over time, not just good for the environment, but also they expect to save a lot of money. It makes economic sense, and that's what's important. And that's why I think what's important about what your program is trying to do to get the word out to folks. And again, as you can see, the partnering that's going on here. So, what also struck us was their commitment and enthusiasm to the program. So, also, before I present the award, there was another award, that was given out that night, and that was really one of your staff was presented with a certificate of appreciation. There was only 3 handed out, and those certificates recognize really outstanding effort in working with our organization to promote planning activities throughout our 2-county area, and that was Denise Bevan. So congratulations. And also, and that was for her hard work in putting together the Green Luncheon program, which made it, in my mind, a success. So again, congratulations to you all for your foresight and leadership, and also to recognize your staff for their hard work and achievement. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And
council members, why don't you join me? This is not something that any one person did, although staff did the majority of the work. Come on, guys, get the photo out. All right. It's a rule. They hire me because I can reach them.
Okay. Okay. Now and when?
Like we listen.
When again? Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And as we stumble back to this.
Mayor, if I could add, I appreciate the confidence putting glass in front of me here. That was,
Doesn't have one frame.
Maybe that's one of your New Year's resolutions. Let us hope.
Hope to get them a supply of bubble wrap.
They're still repairing it.
You know, just as an aside, if I may, this city council has embraced the concept of a green community, and I am convinced that being green is more than just a buzzword or a passing phase or a fancy. And I think Mr. Thompson alluded to this. Done properly, green practices actually save money. They don't cost money. And as the technology improves, we're talking with Project Iceman, which is second-generation solar technology. As the technology improves, the cost goes down, the payback is shortened, and people will find that rather than being something unusual to ask for, I've told the home builders this, that probably within the next 10 years, it will be the unusual case when a home purchaser doesn't want green. So I think we are well positioned in that respect. So thank you again. Agenda item number 4, presentation on the City of Palm Coast social media initiative. Mr. Landon.
Mayor, City Council, I guess I'm going to start off with a little story. I have a couple of training sessions every year, and one of the things that's real common now is talking about cities getting involved in social media. There are some challenges. There's some things that make us city managers very nervous about this instant communication mechanism. But I was in a session, had some young presenters who said, how many of you are involved in Facebook? And only a few of the hands went up. And then they said, you're badly mistaken, because every city is on Facebook one way or the other, whether you want to be directly involved in it or indirectly. It is a means of communication. It's a means that your citizens are using. It's also something all your businesses in the community are using as a communication tool. So I always promised myself I wasn't going to be one of those gray-haired city managers that never looked at new ideas. And so I listened real hard, and they said that one of the keys is you really need to get young professionals, those that are not afraid of new technology, new communication devices, and have them get involved in putting together this communication tool, because they use it, they understand it. And so I went back and did exactly that, and I was rather amazed as to the enthusiasm I received. But pretty typical of my style, I put together a team. I asked some of our young professionals to take a look at social media and how Palm Coast could use this communication device to better serve our citizens, also visitors, and get the word out about Palm Coast. And they really took and ran with that concept. And I've authorized today to take the plug off of the internal Facebook page and go live with it out there. So I don't know if it's out there yet, but if it's not, it is out there. Okay, they're quick. I thought they were ready to go.
They're at the speed of light.
Yes, so tonight's presentation is twofold. Just let City Council know what the group is up to, but also to get this word out in the community, and hopefully the community, and not just a local community, but visitors, etc., use this as a tool, because this is very consistent with what we talked about with Prosperity 2021 also, and getting the word out about Palm Coast. And you'll see how this group has really taken that concept and ran with it, because James is making the presentation, but I will tell you, he had a lot of help and a lot of influence, and the ladies behind him were part of it, but we also had some other members. So James, take it from here.
Cool. Thank you, Mr. Lannon. As Mr. Lannon had mentioned, the Prosperity 2021 document, which outlines a number of different strategies and ideas and initiatives for building our economic development and revitalization, diversity, and quality of life in Palm Coast. And in that document, there's a lot of different strategies mentioned and ideas and things to move forward on. But one of the threads of that document was that we keep building on our strengths. And one of our strengths here in Palm Coast is the lifestyle. It's the outdoors, it's the paths, it's the riding your bike, it's the going to the beach, it's all these different reasons why so many people migrated to Palm Coast, throughout the years, and most definitely in the mid-2000s. But another call out in that document was the need for us to let the secret out. We're more than just a blue water tower off I-95 on your way from Jacksonville or heading to Orlando or Miami. People need to discover Palm Coast. And this initiative is really about marketing our community and getting the word out. I think you guys have all seen this video. We actually wanted to show it to you, but we have some technical difficulties, go figure. For those in the audience, essentially, Palm Coast was mentioned on the David Letterman show. And the gist of it was that, it's small town news, right? And the police, there's a police report that some batteries and a couple items were stolen out of a car, and that was a big deal. That was small town news. But what we all kind of took away from it was, why doesn't David Letterman know where Palm Coast is? Why not? So what we're trying to do is develop a way of telling David Letterman and really telling the world about what Palm Coast is and what it's like to live here. And in doing that, we have to ask ourselves, well, how could we tell David Letterman this? Could we send him a plane ticket and have him fly over here and meet with us here in the council chambers? It's pretty unlikely. Could we call him up? I know I don't have his number. Is anyone friends with his wife? Because the wife's always the inside line to getting, to talk to somebody. How about his wife's best friend? Actually, I don't know if anyone knows, but he's a big racing fan, and he owns the Rahal Letterman racing team, which runs out at the Sebring Raceway, 12 hours of Sebring. So it's probably a good bet, given that we're here in Daytona, that he has some racing buddies in the neighborhood. And maybe we could try to contact one of his racing buddies, and they could put in the good word for us in Palm Coast, and that way, that's how we could try to tell him where Palm Coast is. Kind of unrealistic. All that dynamic right there of who knows who lives where, who talks to who, is going on every day and every moment right now, and it's called social networking, and it's being done online on our computers and on our smartphones. A lot of these logos up here you may or may not recognize, but these are some of the main players in social networking. It's a group of websites that kind of all share the same thread, which is to allow users to communicate online easily, to share messages, to exchange files, images, photos, to just kind of connect online. This is a global phenomenon, courtesy of the World Wide Web. It's a way it's also a way, a functionality that they all share is that in that we can share the message easily, and we're all connected to somebody. It's a way to get the information out and to have information delivered to us, oftentimes information that really is important to us, and we may not even realize that it was. It's a way to bring the news to us rather than going to a search engine. It's a way to have it delivered to you. And this is not a new concept at all. Back in the day, it was the town crier. You know, the news that was relevant to people in the town square. He would post up, and yell out the news, and people heard it. The common thread there was a geographic location. So what is so great about social networking? For one, it fits our budget, and that's free. Most social platforms are very easy to use, and that has a lot to do with why these things have grown so much, is because they're very easy. I always tell the story, you know, my mom has a Facebook page, and if my mom can do it, she used to be afraid to move the mouse or even touch the thing. It would make her nervous. And she's on social networking. So I think it's safe to say it's very easy to use, and in combination with the smartphones and the accessibility on the PC, it's pretty much everywhere. It's with you, it's in your hand, it's on your iPad, it's on your iPod, it's on your iPhone, it's on your Android, mobile, whatever you have in your pocket right now, you most likely can access some type of social networking platform. The message is shared, as I had spoken to earlier. The reason that it's so powerful is that you're able to share a message instantaneously wherever you're at, and any number of people can see that message. And the information finds you. You're not going out there to get it, it's coming to you, and it's coming to you by way of your friends who oftentimes have similar interests. So where do we start? We're starting with Facebook. Facebook is quite the phenomenon. It's the #1 visited website. It's recently eclipsed Google in terms of overall traffic, which is huge. It's used by people of all shapes and sizes: kids, parents, grandparents, organizations, businesses, other municipalities. Everybody is on Facebook right now, and we're not, and it's time to get there. Part of the reason why Facebook's so successful is that there's a number of tools that it offers that allow you to easily share and connect, and kind of the whole social networking theme that all the different services share. Ease of use, the message is spread quickly, and the whole concept of sharing is very strong. Facebook currently has 500 million users worldwide, and in the time that I spent on this slide, 30 new users signed up to Facebook. So how will we use it? Our plan for Facebook is to use it to inform and add value to our residents. A huge benefit to using Facebook is that there's tools that allow us to publicize our events, to promote our activities, our recreation programs. It's a vehicle for distributing urgent news, general news. There's a variety of ways to use it. Another benefit is that we have an opportunity to put something out there and in real time get feedback. For instance, with the Seafood Fest, if we were on Facebook during the Seafood Fest, by day 2, we could have started to get some feedback from the people that attended that event. Then maybe learned a few things that maybe we should tweak, or maybe learn that everyone really loved it, and it puts more wind in our sails to have more events and to continue doing what we're doing. We're getting a pulse on the citizens of Palm Coast and what they're thinking about what we're doing, which is very important. The ability to post videos and photos is also very critical. As we'll see in a little bit, we can have photo galleries, we can promote past events, we can promote future events with some public service announcements, of which are kind of live on our TV 199 channel, and kind of in the darker areas where they're not so front and center stage, certainly not accessible by 500 million people. We're developing our global billboard. This is kind of getting to how we're going to tell David Letterman where we're at. This is our little piece of the pie on the internet, and this is how we tell people what we're doing and really introduce them to the Palm Coast lifestyle and perhaps make a new resident out of it. And also, we're going to use it to supplement and drive traffic to our current website. The Facebook, you have smaller posts, and you can oftentimes direct your traffic back to your city website for more information and, you know, additional types of information pertaining to that event or what have you. Facebook is not a lot of things. At least what we're not going to use it for is as a blog. It's not something where we create long, elaborate articles or anything. It's not a forum where you log on and you talk about a topic and you go back and forth. That's not what our intention is. It's not an FAQ. It's not something where we're going to be, our customer service reps are going to be using it to answer questions or anything like that. It's not a substitute for the city website. It's more of a supplement to the city website. It's also not a substitute for email. The email will continue to live on, and it's not a primary means of communication. It is a supplement for the city website or websites that we develop in the future to drive traffic to those websites. Who's involved? We are using a team approach. A number of departments are involved. The workflow is that departments will be creating the posts and creating the content. The content will be submitted to what we call publishers, which are generally employees out of the city manager's office. And they're there to make sure that the message is consistent, the quality is there, and that it's relevant, and it's in conformance with some of the policies and procedures that we've set forth to guide this endeavor. Once these posts are published, they're added to our page, and comments are handled by moderators. So it's really a core team of employees that are involved here that are going to drive this. Compliance with rules was very important. Took a strong look and did a lot of research in terms of requirements and record retention laws, and took the time and efforts to develop an administrative policies and procedures document to guide our internal usage. Also to pen a disclaimer that we're able to put on our Facebook page. In that there's the two-way communication there. The communication needs to be pertinent to the posts. It can't be, we don't want any sort of language that isn't appropriate for the audience. Our goal with the Facebook page is a G rating. It's something that your children can go to, and you don't have to worry about them learning anything they shouldn't be learning to, obviously. Adherence to sunshine laws and proper record retention, very important. A lot of the laws, the sunshine laws that guide retention of paper documents are consistent with electronic documents as well. And our procedures speak to that. Facebook, social networking in general, there's a number of different flavors that we can get into. We made sure to craft a disclaimer and policy that can be applied to any of these social networking endeavors. So, we introduced the city's Facebook page. And here's where we stretch the bounds of this laptop here. We're going to actually go to the city's Facebook page.
Does that mean you have to friend me first?
That's Bill Gates talking to us right there. Directly.
It's not on yet, is it? Or is it?
I'll find out. I'll find out.
This is, I don't know what that was, but this is the page here. This is what's called the wall. We already have some posts up. As you can see, we've posted about a adult basketball program that started. We're actually posting video to the Facebook page. We actually get a chuckle out of this video. If you guys don't mind, I'd like to show this to you. Maybe I won't. We'll download that.
James, what did I tell you today about the IT director having technical problems? I mean, it just isn't right.
It makes me feel right at home.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah. And it truly is a work in progress. It's brand new to us.
This makes everyone feel good, so let me sweat it out for a second here and we'll get on the road. All right, so, yeah, it's interesting. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
That's what you get. That's approval.
Anyways,
I logged in on mine, for example.
man, I really want to show this to you guys.
While you're doing that, I'd like to share a conversation that I just very recently had with a citizen in Palm Coast. I was talking about this was upcoming, and the person was a little taken aback with me, a little upset, and said, well, why are you wasting your time with something like this? You should be out trying to fill up the vacant houses. And I said, duh. The best way you do that is to tell people the Palm Coast story. If you go back to the 1970s, ITT had planes chartered from the metropolitan area, bringing people down for free hotel stays. They were giving away Garfield phones. Halsey, you may remember Glen Point in Teaneck, New Jersey, where ITT had the whole second floor for a sales office. They're not here anymore. So what we're going to be doing is trying to tell people the Palm Coast story, why it's a great place to live, work, and play.
I'm taking you on the road with me. Yeah, so we're having some technical difficulties here, but that's all right. This should play a video. What we're doing here is we're bringing over video content from TV 199, and we're situating it onto our Facebook page. And the cool thing about that is it gives our content legs, because the way social media works and the ease of sharing will enable someone who likes this video, and I think a lot of people are going to like it.
Well, now you've got my curiosity.
I know, I really want to show you, but so their friends are going to see that they like it, and then that whole viral effect happens where, who knows who can see this video. A lot of times you read about a video that got 1 million hits in the course of a couple days, and I don't know if this video is that caliber, but that's the whole viralness we're trying to tap into. Right here is promotion of events. We're definitely going to be using Facebook to promote our events, and also as a way to drive traffic, as mentioned earlier, to the city's website. And this would be the new Trails Map guide that we just published. Look, very curious to see how much traffic we're able to pull to the city website just because of our Facebook page. Should be very interesting.
Jim, do we have to have an account in order to get on? How's the public going to get on the Facebook?
You do not have to have an account. If you look up here on the top, it's asking us to sign up. Our page is open where you can see the content, but in order for you to make a comment on the content, you have to typically sign up. But there's a lot of media you can access and not even have to not be registered. So let's go back to the slide here. So what's next? I mentioned earlier about TV 199 content and starting to bring that content, not only showing it on the TV 199 channel, but also bringing it onto other social media platforms like YouTube, and also plugging it into our Facebook page. Again, we're giving our content and our work legs. We're going to start integrating more video content into the city website to make the website more interactive. We also plan to emphasize the Palm Coast lifestyle with a website called Discover Palm Coast, which has been mentioned previously in workshops. It's going to be our way to kind of take all the fun, lifestyle, outdoors, living, visiting portions of Palm Coast and put it on one easy-to-navigate website, very plugged into social media, very fun. And this is really just a part of a lot of different ideas and strategies that we're going to be putting into place. One of the things that we're all very excited about is creating a unified image, a Palm Coast image, a package, if you will, that really tells the story of what Palm Coast is and what you can expect living here. We kick around the term brand print, like the Coke symbol, or like any sort of packaging where you start to create a name for yourself. We're going to start exploring ways to really polish up and use multimedia and the internet to create that brand image, that brand print for the city, so that people can recognize us as a lot more than just a blue water tower. Now back to Letterman. So let's say David Letterman is on Facebook, and he actually is. There is a David Letterman show on Facebook. Let's say he actually has his own personal profile on Facebook. If we wanted to get to David Letterman and grab his ear and tell him what Palm Coast is all about, really it's only a matter of having a friend of David Letterman. For instance, seeing as though David Letterman is into racing, more than likely probably has a friend over in the Daytona area connected to the Speedway in some way, and probably he's friends with him on Facebook, and as being a friend, he's able to see what David Letterman is able to see what his friend likes. So fast forward into the future, we put up a piece of content. His friend, who happens to be like our city website, likes that piece of content. Well, guess what? His liking that content will land up in David Letterman's timeline on his Facebook page. And he clicks on our Facebook page, and mission accomplished. He discovers Palm Coast. And we hope you like this.
Thank you very much. Council questions or comments?
I've got one.
Frank.
James, I was just on my Facebook page looking around for your Facebook page, and some of the things I'm pulling up, there's a lot of Facebook locations already attributed to Palm Coast. How do we separate the wheat from the chaff in this area and make sure that when people are looking for the city of Palm Coast, they find us and not somebody that wants to talk about Bubba's having his first birthday?
Right. Yeah, Facebook is putting out a number of websites kind of automatically. If you look for a city, you're going to see a city page. That isn't necessarily the city's page. It's just a kind of like an encyclopedia entry within the Facebook world for that city. What we've done with Facebook is we've named the City of Palm Coast, and this is kind of a standard practice, the official City of Palm Coast page. So when you do a search on City of Palm Coast, you'll see the City of Palm Coast official. And that's how we distinguish ourselves from the wannabes.
Has that been done yet?
Yep. Yeah, if I log in here.
Yeah, they're back there.
We'll put City of Palm Coast, and there we have it, right at the top. So we click on that, and we're on the page. Eventually. So there is a City of Palm Coast page right now, and it has I think 3,500 likes. So there is interest already. So we anticipate our friend count to grow very quickly. We urge you all to get on there and like us.
Mr. Landon, is this something we work with the NCAA and they're doing the Pro-Am golf tournament? We give them information how to plug into our Facebook?
I don't know about plugging into our Facebook, but absolutely, as far as that being an event that's happening at our golf course in March, where we can push that out and let people know. That's one of the things James, I think, highlighted, was that, you know, we actually now don't have to worry or count on people looking at our website or our calendar. We can actually let them know about it. And once again, as I understand Facebook, and I'm not an expert on it, as you can see, the entries are very short, but they point you to the right direction. So they'll point you to our golf course website that will highlight the details, or maybe that organization that's coming into town that can give more of the information that people would want to know. It may be some of our own events, you know, and we can give you the video that James was trying to play was our tree and electronic recycling program this Saturday. You know, the Joyride, all of those things, trying to get that information out. But yes, the ones from out of town also, and working with our visitors to try to make sure people know what's happening. And that just helps drive more business to our community and our local businesses when people know about it happening, coming to our events.
Well, I found you finally. I'm good. We're good.
Yeah.
Other council questions?
Mayor, if I could add one other change we've made. How many of you have tried to tell people what our website address is? Most people do everything they can to do that, to avoid the ci.palm dash, and about that point it's like, wait, where are you? We have changed our official city website address to palmcoastgov.com. Something a whole lot simpler. Yeah, we would have tried even simpler, but they've already taken. So, but palmcoastgov.com will now get you to our website. You can still use the old one because we know it's out there and they both point in the same direction, but just another effort to try. Now, our email addresses haven't changed, but they will. As soon as James finds some free time with his staff, we'll change over the email addresses too. So when you try to get out your email address, you don't have to give that long, complicated. So once again, I think James and the whole team, you know, behind James is Cynthia and Becky and Denise, and there's a couple other members that aren't here tonight, but they've all come up with these easy way of communicating with people electronically versus kind of the old school way, and been very pleased with that. So
There's already a lot of good information up here. Looking good. On your Facebook website, the wall in particular, I think looks good. You got a video on it. I don't know if anybody else is interested, but I'd take $30 from each city council member to get $150 together to get a one-way ticket down here for David Letterman. We could show him this stuff in person.
You got to get him a ticket for $150?
New York to here. One way.
James, I saw in part of your presentation another website, discoverpalmcoast.com.
Yeah, that's we're trying to make things easier for our citizens, our residents, and at the same time create a space for us to kind of show off what we have, our lifestyle, and have fun. Not all the time do you associate a government website with fun, but we're going to try to change that. The palmcoastgov.com would be more, you know, the permitting, the pay your utility bills, the learn about local government type of content, whereas the Discover Palm Coast would be more catering towards events and activities and living, seeing, doing in Palm Coast and trying to get people out, come visit us.
Mayor, very, very consistent with our economic development plan. Remember how comprehensive we tried to do, and that this is part of that effort of actually trying to get people aware of us. Very consistent with what the TDC, Tourist Development Council, the county, a lot of our other friends out there are trying to accomplish right now, of bring in those visitor dollars here. Also, maybe some of the people that own a lot. Now's the time to move to Palm Coast instead of fighting snow.
I'll tell you what, the snowing and the flooding up north and out west, that's a great incentive. Other council comments on?
Just a quick one.
Mr. Lewis.
I like the Discover Palm Coast better than like the Palm Coast. What was that?
Palm Coast Gov?
Palm Coast Dove. Yeah, Gov. Yeah, that's so cold, you know.
Yeah, I tell you, I've tried to reserve domain names just on my own in the past, and I've actually randomly hit keys on the keyboard out of frustration to see if a domain name was available, because people buy these things. For $10, you buy the domain name, it's yours, you own it. Yeah. And I've randomly punched on the keyboard xyzabc.com, and it was taken. So it is not easy to put two words that make sense together anymore and be able to buy that domain. So
PalmCoast.com has long been taken.
Yeah, I think that's Palm Coast Holdings owns that.
So we went through quite an effort, but I think that's, the PalmCoastGov.com is supposed to be more of the drier side, that kind of, if you want to know about council meeting and when it is, you go to that site. But if you want the fun site, it's going to be the discoverpalmcoast.com. So I think we're trying to accomplish both of those.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Agenda item number 5, presentation on Flagler Purchasing Co-op website.
Let me introduce this real quick. Mayor, City Council, you've actually seen this. This is more just a quick announcement more than anything else, that this cooperative effort with our neighbors, colleagues, if you will, and throughout the county on trying to make purchasing a little more convenient and easier. James was instrumental in putting together a fairly simple website. He previewed this with you a few months ago. It is now live. Not everybody in the county is using it yet. It's that new. And it's just a foundation. There's still other things we can do to cooperate, but kind of wanted to let you know that this is live, and it is one of those goals of working with our neighbors and trying to make it as easy as possible for people to do business with us. So James has got a fairly quick and easy presentation on this one.
Yeah, very quick. Buckeyes are on at 8, by the way.
But the Razorbacks are playing too.
Again, just a review a while back, we went over this. Just wanted to reiterate that this is up. This Flagler Purchasing Cooperative is a group of municipalities here in Flagler County. The county, of course, the school district, Flagler Beach, Bunnell, Palm Coast, the Sheriff's Office, and the Chamber of Commerce are all kind of in on this. The purpose of this website was to try to make it easier for the contractors, the vendors out there to know what bids are available, what RFPs, what RFQs are available in the various municipalities, and create a single resource that they can go to that the municipalities can advertise their bids. We can advertise and promote one website and be able to get these bids in front of many, 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 many different vendors, the people that are interested in seeing these bids, to try to really boost local economy and also to try to streamline this whole process. Another piece of the puzzle here was to create a centralized vendor registration form that vendors could come and put in their information, can establish what their line of work is, to also include some information that we can use to seek them out in terms of, can you provide the work for a particular bid? This centralized vendor registration gives us an opportunity to capture these vendors and take that data and use it as we want it, as we need to. It also gives us an opportunity to email these vendors. So when a bid is advertised on the site, flaglerpurchasing.org, the vendors can receive a email notifying them. So we have email alert letting you know that the bid's available, the RFP's available, the RFQ's available, and that it pertains to you. We're going to send these bids to you. You're going to get a brief description and have the opportunity to come to the website to view more information on that particular bid. The website is not a centralized bidding process. It's not a huge system, an elaborate system that talks to each of the municipalities' software platforms that they use to manage their bids. It's not a local vendor preference tool. Let's give a quick showing of the website. This is the website live. As we can see up here, we have some bids. Flagler County, Palm Coast have put some bids up. This particular widget here advertises the latest bids, so you're able to see, what bid came from each municipality. You're also able to click on the bid, get some brief information. Kind of the idea here was to make it quick and easy for the municipalities. It's really that quick blurb of an advertisement to let you know that this is available and to pursue more information on that, and also to provide a consistent way to get to each municipality's purchasing page. For instance, we click this link, it brings that user, that vendor, to the City of Palm Coast purchasing page. They don't have to keep track of what the elaborate URL is to get to Flagler County's page, or to get to the Sheriff's Office page. We've taken care of all that. It's just a click away. Also, if they had any comments on the bid, they have the ability to ask a question. If some of these bids are kind of vague, it's an opportunity for them to get some more information, and these will alert the various municipalities. For instance, if someone was to ask a question here, we would get an email alert, and we'd have the opportunity to answer that question right here, and so that that question isn't answered again, or asked again. There's other little functionality, ability to search. If you wanted to search by cement, maybe that was your specialty, you can search for bids. In the future, as this gets used more and more, there could be 100 bids out there. There's search functionality to let them search. There's also some functionality over here to search by different types of commodity codes right now. So the inventory is building. We're just kind of officially getting this out and starting to use it. There's been some training session. We have another training that's in the works to get the municipalities to learn how to use it and take advantage of this. And then here's the vendor registration form that we mentioned earlier. Add the information, it gets submitted, and it enters a database that all the municipalities have access to. And that's the long and short of it.
Very good. Any council questions or comments?
Just one quick one. James,
Meeker.
you got City of Palm Coast, Flagler County tab up there. Are those clickable buttons to take you to their site, or is that just advertising?
This allows you, if you wanted to focus in on just City of Palm Coast bids or just Flagler County bids, if the various cities had bids in here, that you'd see tabs for them as well. So,
and are the other cities planning on putting bids in here and getting their own little tab up there?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We had some. This is live, so before, when I showed it to you earlier at the workshop, there was a lot of test data. So you saw all the different tabs and all the different municipalities because there was test data associated with it. So we're urging the municipalities to get in here and take a look. It doesn't take much time to just post up their bids, and we can start promoting this website and really start to deliver some value.
Okay, thanks.
Other council questions? Thank you very much. Believe it or not, that brings us to public participation. Anyone from the public wish to be heard on any item not on today's agenda, please come up to the podium, give us your name, and limit your contribution to 3 minutes.
I'll make it very quick. My name is Jay Marles. I'm familiar with most of y'all. I did not plan on doing a presentation, so I'm not real organized. But let me tell you what I'm here for. Every day I go out to Jim Holland Dog Park. We have a minor drainage problem. We have some sheet erosion. We need some sod. We need a sidewalk for handicapped people. We need one paved handicap space. Mr. Landon has tried to include that in the original park design, which we understand is going to be a year or two. We've been waiting for 3 years for this, by the way. Now it's going to be another year or 2 or 3. What we need is about $15,000 or $20,000 for a minor project. Just so you understand how often the park is used, we've had as many as 45 dogs at one time. Okay, and that means every seat in the place is taken, which is another thing we need. We need some more picnic tables too, and try to keep them out of the way. I did a tally about 3 years ago when we started this, and we get close to maybe 400 dogs in 10 days. It is amazing. I know Mrs. DeStefano's husband does he still go in the morning?
Yep.
I mean, there are people that come at certain times of the day. There's 8 o'clock group, there's a 10 o'clock group, there's a noontime group. I come at 2, there's a group that comes at 4, there's a group that comes at 6, and a lot of people come after dark because there's no place else to go up here. The Wadsworth Park one is just not accessible. Do we own that? Does the city own that?
No.
That just needs lots of work. It's not accessible. It's got a problem occasionally with rattlesnake bites because when they cleared the park, they left clumps of palmetto land. And we typically get 1 bite a year. And it's usually a pygmy rattlesnake, and the dog goes into the palmetto and gets nailed. And we had one last year, and we had one the year before that, and we had one the year before that. The issue of the drainage is important because there's no sense putting in grass if the drainage problem isn't fixed, because it sheet flows across the whole park. That's a stormwater management thing. It's small. You've actually, when John Jackson was here, he actually did a little retention contouring. So we can fix that very easily without a permit. I just don't see where it's a permit issue. And I used to do, as you know, a lot of permitting. The other thing is ADA compliance. We need a paved parking space, and we'd like to have a sidewalk that goes down to the bottom. Let me tell you what we have going in here. We have one guy that comes in that had polio in his youth. He has no legs. He's got the metal feet, and he's on crutches. We have a couple people on walkers. We have people bringing in baby carriages. It really, I know concrete is broken and pitted. It doesn't even meet your own requirements because you have a height regulation from the ground to the top of the sidewalk, and it's typically 4 or 5 inches. And I was there today, and somebody came tottering in and stepped off the edge of the sidewalk.
15 seconds.
Huh?
15 seconds left.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're just asking for your help. It's not a lot of money. We've been patient. You know, we've tried to work with you. We just need to do something now. Mulch or grass. And maybe just fixing the irrigation system would work. I don't know. It's up to you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Lou McCarthy, Palm Coast. I wish everybody a happy new year and a healthy one. And I just want to say, James, you and your team did a hell of a job on those presentations. I was impressed. I won't give you my Facebook thing, or I won't go on any of those, and I don't think some of the councilmen will, except for Frank. Y'all take care. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hi, Lynn Weaver. I'm back. I spoke to you 2 weeks ago about stormwater, cattle, and barbed wire, and I'm back. You know, I hate to say this, but the city seems to be running with their head in the sand and their butt up in the air, and I'm really getting kind of tired of dealing with butts. I've been trying to deal with this stormwater since February. I got 2 emails telling me that it was being researched by Mr. Moden. Now, if Mr. Moden is researching my problem, what is the rest of the staff doing? It's not his job. The thing about Mr. Moden is he knows more about the stormwater in the city than anyone else. He doesn't need to research. He wrote me a letter years ago saying I don't have stormwater, I don't have to pay the stormwater fees. He's also one that signed the lien against my property a couple years later for not paying the fees. He knows darn well that I don't have a stormwater plant, or didn't. Now, I've been dealing with this It's like 330 some days since my initial request. I just want to make the city aware that St. John's Water Management fines by the day. I can't even get a simple answer in writing as to whether I have a stormwater plan and what it is. Moving on to another issue, we have the fencing issue. I was just told that the fencing for the cattle is in compliance, but if you read your chapter 4, first of all, it has to be an ag district. Secondly, there has to be a demonstrated eligibility, which nobody seems to have anything on file in the city. And whoever wrote the code was either a total idiot or brilliant, because it says you have to have 3 stands with 2-foot intervals. Livestock in 2-foot intervals means you're going to have livestock on the highway. They push their shoulders through a 2-foot interval. You have 4 strands. I can count, anybody can count. So I'm asking the city to do its job. You find me by the day, by the animal. When you didn't like what I did, I'm asking you to do the same to the big boys. Unless this is some kind of agreement the city has come to get them to agree to pay stormwater fees. A quick count on my part, you are losing over $250,000 in property fees for lands that are not eligible for agricultural exemptions. Your thing says that we have to have licenses from USDA. No, we don't. We have to have timber plans from the Forestry Department, conservation plans for natural resources, or crop plans. You know, if you don't have those, you are not a bona fide agricultural operation. You also have a code under Chapter 3 that says that feedlots are not permitted in the city. I hate to tell you this, you don't have anything being produced out there except a feedlot. You have a bunch of steers. They're not breeding anything except feedlot. According to the USDA definition, that is a feedlot. They are feeding animals up for slaughter. That's all they're doing. It's clearly not defined, but yet I'm being told that it's an allowed use. I pay to have my animals grazed somewhere. I'm not a happy puppy. You know, you have these ordinances, but you're not following them. You're asking the average citizen to ante up on our taxes, but you're allowing big 1,000-acre tracts to go without paying their fair share. You know, I'm tired of being screwed without a kiss here, folks. I've paid fines, I've paid taxes, I've had to redo things, I have to pay to have animals elsewhere. I want a fair shake in this city, as do the other citizens.
Thank you very much. We'll get back to you. Next speaker. Next speaker. Now that the microphone's healthy. Next speaker. Seeing no one approach the podium, we'll close the public portion of the meeting. Let's come back. Mr. Landon, could we take a look at the dog park and see if there's some inexpensive fixes to these problems?
Mayor, I can tell you we already have, and my staff is telling us there's no cheap or easy solution, because it is sheet flow, no cost. And yeah, it's all money that will be torn out as soon as we do the real solution. We actually talked about this at budget time, and the real solution is to go in and do it right. Anything we do now, 15, 20, 30, they'll end up being, if I know how this works, $50,000, and then a year or so we'll tear it out again. So it is a bad situation. We've recognized that. That's why we have the renovation of the park on the tab for the future. But there isn't going to be a good immediate solution unless you want to spend some significant dollars and then have it torn out.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but given that the Home Builders Association is trying to get us to eliminate all park impact fees, I question whether it's realistic that we're going to be able to make these large-scale improvements that we're talking about. I don't know how council feels about it, but I'd like some more discussion on this.
Okay.
Mr. Stefano, on that issue?
Yes, sir. My question is there a time frame of 1 year or 3 years, as the speaker indicated? You just said 1 year. What is our time frame to be fixing this?
We are currently in the design stage. That was what was in the budget this year, was to complete the design, permitting. with the idea of construction in the future, and I didn't come prepared to know what the timeline is for that. I do know that this fiscal year we are finishing up the design.
Could we discuss this at a workshop?
I'd like to discuss at a workshop, and perhaps if we're still in the design phase, we may be able to design
Phase 1.
this component in such a way that you don't have to tear it out and throw it away. But I'm very skeptical about any near future major renovations to that park. I'd like to put this on a workshop agenda. The second speaker, this is her second time before us, and it sounds like she's got some legitimate issues. Are you prepared to comment?
I am not. I did not come prepared for it. I don't know if any of my staff members would like to comment on it. It looks like Nestor's just dying to volunteer, so I'll let.
Mayor, we've invited Ms. Weaver to come in and meet with us. She's got multiple issues, and we'd like to treat them all comprehensively, look at her property, the other properties, the ag situation exemption, all of it. We'd like to discuss all of it, and I'm hoping that she'll call tomorrow and we can schedule to have all the people that need to be in the room.
Is Ms. Weaver still here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Brew had spoke with me before, and he actually had one of his people contact me after the meeting.
We've had discussions. You're going to set up a meeting with your staff and with Ms. Weaver?
That's what we'd like to have happen. Our staff has already discussed some of the issues, some of the zoning issues, but we'd like to take care of all of it.
After that, perhaps you could give us a brief précis of your discussion at our next workshop?
Will do.
Or depending on how heavy that agenda is. I mean, I think we'd all like to hear that there's light at the end of that tunnel. Okay, discussion by City Council of matters not on the agenda. Mr. Mormon.
Mr. Landon, I saw your email that the governor had signed the Iceman project papers. Where are we right now?
Well, the agreement that City Council approved is in their hands. As you've indicated, the state has approved the grant request also. And the last update I received last week was that we're waiting now for the company to get back to us to sign the agreement and move forward. So it's in the company's hands at this point.
That's all I said.
Mr. Lewis.
On East Hampton, there's some irate citizens out there who are complaining about the fact that our multipurpose path did not come up to reach them. They're at the end of East Hampton Drive. And the question was, why was it stopped before it reached those citizens? And I don't have an answer. Is there an answer?
I do. There's two answers to it. One of them is that the goal is to get everyone from a local street to the path. So everyone that you're speaking of, I know the neighborhood, it's my neighborhood, so I know it quite well. They can use a local street that runs parallel with East Hampton, and I don't know the name of the street, but then it connects to it. So going down to the second connection, they actually have a safe local street that they can connect to this without getting onto East Hampton. Secondly is the area that we're referring to is actually owned by a developer, and we anticipate, in fact, one of these days they've been in here, they filed a lawsuit against us. We've had all sorts of fun with that property many years ago. And so if the extension of that path happens, the idea would be part of that development because it is vacant property. But the real answer was the first one, and that is our goal is with all the paths is for everybody to get from their local street, meaning those streets that have driveway connections to them, to the arterial in this case, which is East Hampton, without having to drive a bicycle, ride a bicycle, walk on that major arterial, and the extension of where we ended, which is the second Eric, accomplishes that goal. It's all a matter of dollars as far as how far you're going to go when you meet your goal of doing exactly that. So hopefully that explains that one. But it was very much planned and very much part of the design of that project.
It may be that the association people will have to receive that answer because
I have given it to them personally. Okay. So it's just a matter of maybe drilling it down further into it.
Right. That's it.
Mrs. DeStefano.
No, I just would like to wish the manager and the staff and all the citizens of Palm Coast a very happy and a healthy and hopefully economically beneficial New Year. And also to compliment the sidewalk up by the Catholic Church and on the east side of Belterre. The poor people can't even get it finished, and people are using it, bikes and babies and carriages, and absolutely phenomenal. They can't wait for the guy to get it done. So congratulations on that project.
Vice Mayor.
Going back to the two issues for workshop, the work at Holland Park, one of the things I'd be interested to hear about at the workshop is the area around the dog park, does it meet the ADA requirements? That was one of the issues that was brought up. The second one is, are we causing or contributing to a minor stormwater issue? I know we don't have a stormwater permit on the entire park, but if through a lack of sod and irrigation we're causing or contributing to potential water quality violations, I'd like to just get an answer on that one as well. The second one is going back to Ms. Weaver's concerns. When we get back to our discussions, and I'd kind of like to defer to almost to Mr. Lewis on this, but I swear when we were on the PLDRB and we were looking at the comp plan and the rules and the regulations and all that, that barbed wire within the city, I thought was prohibited. And I'm not even sure about the sizing or the spacing of it, but I thought it was prohibited. And the other question is, if it's not prohibited, is it consistent with the zoning for the property? I thought for some reason that area was zoned commercial along there, not ag, and that if you were within the city, you know, we had this prohibition against livestock. I don't need an answer right now, Jim, but I am looking for an answer when we get around to it at the workshop. Because to me, it's a zoning, you know, how is it zoned, and if it's zoned, is it appropriate to have barbed wire associated with that?
Just a kind of a request/reminder for our residents. You've seen on the news the brush fires to the south, Volusia County, Brevard County. You've seen that the county has extended the burn ban and has indicated that it will probably be extended for the indefinite future. Driving over to City Hall earlier today, I saw 2 different cars throw cigarette butts out the window. Now, throwing it onto an asphalt street probably is not going to lead to fire, but it's a habit. It's a nasty habit. Please, please, everyone, be careful with open flames, matches, cigarettes, cigars, and so on and so forth. We don't need a repetition of the fires that we've experienced in the past.
Absolutely.
Discussion by, well, we can skip the city attorney, since at my request he was not here today, trying to save a few dollars for the city. Discussion by the city manager of matters not on the agenda.
Just a couple of reminders of things going on this Saturday. First of all, I already talked about the tree and electronic recycling. That is at it's on Utility Drive. It's part of our utility operation there towards the end of the Utility Drive. You can bring both your Christmas trees, and we chip them up and recycle them, and also any of your electronic equipment that should not be going in a landfill, and we'll dispose of that correctly. The other thing going on Saturday, the joyride, the rescheduled joyride, the bicycle ride that starts at 11 o'clock at the town center. You can go a short route or a long route, and it looks like right now the weather forecast is going to be great for that day. So hopefully we see you out. The tree and electronic recycling starts at 9 a.m. and goes till 2 p.m. But go to our Facebook page and you can get all the details. And thank you all.
Shameless plug.
That's all I have.
Mr. Meeker.
My gosh, it's that time. I motion to adjourn.
Second and third.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much for your participation.